Okay, so picture this. The year is 1975. Let's say controversial religious leader from Korea stands before his followers in America. But he's not just there to give a sermon. Nope. He lays out this incredibly detailed 3-year, almost corporate-style plan to, save the world. That leader was Reverend Sun Myung Moon. And in this explainer, we are going to break down that audacious vision piece by piece.
So this single quote right here really sets the stage for everything that's about to happen. I mean, just look at the framing. This isn't a request for acceptance. It's a declaration of intent. He's not coming here as an immigrant looking for the American dream. He's basically positioning himself as a kind of spiritual medic, showing up to treat a nation that he sees as being in a deep, deep crisis. And that crisis he saw? Well, that is the mission. In his mind, this wasn't just about faith. This was a spiritual war for the soul of the entire planet. And America was ground zero. So the core argument went something like this. God had blessed America in a really unique way, not for its own wealth and power, but to be a tool for saving the whole world. The problem, as he saw it, was that the country had gotten selfish. It had forgotten its purpose. So his mission was to shock the nation awake and basically force it back onto what he believed was its divinely ordained path. Okay, so what exactly was the big problem that he claimed he was here to fix? To really get the urgency of his mission, we've got to zoom way out and look at his pretty unique take on the entire sweep of human history. Now, this slide shows a really fascinating way of reframing history. According to this theology, right, the Old Testament era was whole. It had both, a physical foundation, the nation of Israel, and a spiritual one. But Christianity, even though it won this huge global spiritual victory, it lost its physical anchor. And this created a fundamental split between the spiritual and physical worlds, a split that, in his view, absolutely had to be healed. And this right here, this lays out the core theological problem he's presenting so clearly. This three Adams doctrine basically frames history as a story of God's work being left unfinished. So Adam's fall, that cut the physical connection. Jesus, the second Adam, he comes and restores the spiritual link. But because of his death, the physical restoration was left incomplete. This left a job opening, you could say, for a third Adam to finally come and finish the work. Which brings us directly to the solution he laid out in this speech, the absolute necessity of a new, physical, central figure to come and finally complete God's original plan for humanity. And here is the absolute key point. This messianic figure, this Lord of the Second Advent, couldn't just be some spirit returning on the clouds. The logic of the whole doctrine demanded it. To fix the world's physical problems, he had to be a real person here on Earth living a physical life. This quote really gets the heart of it. The argument is super simple. Since the problems, all the corruption, sin, division, are down here on Earth, the solution has to be on Earth too. Now, this is a radical rethinking of the Second Coming, right? It transforms it from this purely supernatural event into a tangible, practical, honest-to-goodness earthly mission. So, with the theology all laid out, let's get to the action plan. How did he actually propose turning this big vision into a concrete, time-bound strategy for what he called a heavenly victory? He laid out this incredibly clear 3-stage campaign to, in his words, stop and rock America. And just look at the targets. They're not random at all. The plan was to build momentum. You start in a huge media hub like Madison Square Garden. Then you demonstrate your growing power at the iconic Yankee Stadium. And you cap it all off with a massive rally at the Washington Monument, the symbolic heart of the entire nation. And to pull this plan off, he demanded absolute, total commitment. His followers, he told them, were to be the elite of the heavenly soldiers. He used this really powerful bullet metaphor, casting them as these instruments of transformation that were meant to pierce through the world with an almost explosive force. But that explosive force wasn't just for America. Oh no. The vision was completely global. 130, get this, that's how many nations were targeted for immediate missionary work. They had international teams just ready to be sent out all across the planet. And the ambition was just staggering. I mean, this wasn't just about spreading a message. It was about building a complete, parallel world system. The plans went way beyond just preaching. We're talking about influencing global media with a newspaper, finance with a bank, and even shaping intellectual thought with a university and academic conferences, the whole shebang. So what was the end game here? What was the ultimate point of this massive, coordinated, global effort? This quote just sums up the whole goal perfectly. The vision was to build a brand new world order, as the old one was falling apart. He saw both democracy and communism as failing systems, and that was creating a power vacuum. His movement was designed to be the new structure that would rise from the ashes, building the kingdom of God right here on earth while everything else just crumbled. At the end of the day, by framing his plan as the final victorious chapter in God's great cosmic story, Moon offered his followers so much more than just a faith. He gave them a specific, history-making role to play in what they truly believed was the ultimate triumph of heaven on earth. And it leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. What is the true power of a story that promises to complete history itself?